In today's video, we are going to be making a, this is going to be a long one, rat tail knife slash blacksmith knife slash Viking knife slash ring knife. Everybody calls it a different thing, but what it is a utility knife that does not have a handle other than the long tang wrapped around itself, essentially. And so the reason we are making it is actually a pretty simple build. There's a lot of techniques in it that you're going to be using in blacksmithing and bladesmithing. It's a lot of fun, and it is probably one of the first knives you should ever make if you're going to be forging. I actually have I just call it a utility knife, but I have one of these in my shop, and it is the most used knife in my shop because it's just excellent. You don't have to worry about the handle getting dirty or messed up. It's a metal handle. I can let the blade get all messed up, and it's great. We've got our steel. Let's dive in. So we have our steel selection right here. This is 8670, really tough, good steel, pretty simple heat treat, pretty easy to forge. We are going to heat this up, and we are going to start forging. The first thing that we are going to do is kind of isolate the area that's going to be our blade. We're going to put a rough profile on the blade, kind of forge a little bit of the bevel, get the shape there, and then start forging out the tang. The tang has to be really, really long, so that way we have enough space to wrap it back and then cut off whatever we don't need. And this is what it looks like after you get done forging. It's all over his face. So we forged the knife, and this is the shape that it took right here. Looks good. We're gonna heat it up and just kind of forge this in just a little bit after we grind the blade and get ready for heat treat. We'll do that in a second. So next we're going to go to the grinder and grind. So the final thing we're going to use is a surface conditioning belt. We're just going to do a brown, which is the coarsest grit, because this is a work knife and I'm not going to overly finish it because I'm going to be throwing it around the shop. So we're going to use this belt next. So the next step is not a dabba-dee-ba-do, but we're going to use a file and we're just going to clean up these edges. Just kind of give it a better, more robust feel instead of just the sharp angles. So you can see that the forge is going in the background, and I've already got the knife in there heating up. The next thing that I'm going to do is heat up the handle, and I'm going to use the horn of the anvil and a spacer to keep my spacing right there where the little curl is at the handle. And then I'm just going to kind of gently forge it so that way I can forge that nice little curve to it. And then when we finish up, we'll do a few little bitty artistic features at the very end after we quench the knife and heat treat it. So there we have it. We have heat treated it. Let me finish this out. It feels a whole lot better in the hand. So one of the things you want to look for is when you're heat treating steel, this light gray color is hardened edge, which is great. I'm not going to go into all the complicated terms. For you beginners out there, that's a hardened edge. You like a kind of a cherry red, like almost a dark cherry. Like a kind of a dark red, honestly. Let's see if I have an example of a color. This book right here, this edge is kind of the color that I like to shoot for. If you look up a color chart online, if you're going to be going off of color charts, go to look up just a color chart online, and you can find some good ones. We have a nice cleaned up edge. You can see that right there. It looks great. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to heat treat this. And I'm gonna heat treat it at about 350 to 395 for about an hour, and then we're gonna get back to finishing the rest of the work. So we've got the knife tempered, and we tempered it in our fancy dancy KitchenAid heat treating oven. Just kidding, we just tempered it in a regular oven. But you can see that we got a nice straw color on the knife. So this knife is tempered and ready to go. Now what we're gonna do is do some cleanup on it, some sharpening, and just some kind of final fit and finishing. Maybe wire brush it a little bit, clean up the forged portions of it, or the forged finished portions of it. I don't know, I think I'm just gonna leave this blade black. I was kind of thinking about it, and since it's a work knife, I think it'll look really good black, but I might go ahead and just kind of polish up the blade, but it's gonna get rusty and messy being a work knife. So in the comments, leave what you think. Shiny knife, finish work knife, black finish, rusty finish. Y'all let me know what y'all like. I think that just turned out swell. That's a word you don't hear anymore. So
I went ahead and just used that wire brush on the blade as well. Really gave it just kind of a very similar matte finish as the rest of the knife. Left some of those scratches in it from when I was grinding it. Just overall really good looking rustic knife. So you might be wondering what it was that I sprayed on that blade. And this is it. It's nothing fancy. It's just a clear semi-gloss polyacrylic spray. It's extremely flammable. So danger, vapors may cause, whatever. But some people do this, some people don't. Depending on the knife that I'm working on, this one particularly, we've got this kind of wire brush finish on it. I want to retain the wire brush finish as best I can. And so just spraying it with a good clear coat real quick before I finish it and sharpen it gives it just a good, like, kind of nice shiny luster to it. So now what we're going to do is make this, just this little bead for the lanyard we're going to put on this knife. I've got this piece of ram's horn from a scale that I made for another light knife. You can see it on my Instagram. We're going to drill a hole, and then we're just going to round this up and clean this up to look the shape that we actually want this to look for the bead. So there you have it. It's been drilled and inset a little bit. So now we're just going to round it up and clean it up on the grinder. Little side tip from one knife maker to another. When you're putting your knife, your finished knife, into a vise, they have teeth most of the time. And if you're not using like a soft edge, use a cloth of some kind. So now what we're going to do is we're going to attach this bead with a little lanyard. We're going to be using a snake knot lanyard right here. And so we're going to start tying, and you'll see the finished product. So this is a bone that I use for testing. I want to give you guys the best testing footage that I can. So we're going to test the tip, we're going to test the edge, and then we're going to see if it'll still shave. Oh, let's do it. So some of the knives, parts of the knives shave. So I still count that as shaving. Still really good. Still cuts your fingernails. So I'd say all in all, that's a pass. It's not bad for a little bitty work knife. So, all in all, there you have it. A blacksmith work knife. You can see the middle of the video for all the other names for it. I think if I were to do it again, I would make it out of something like a 01 steel, just so that it has better edge retention and that it holds up a little bit better. I mean, it's still really, really sharp. I'm still really happy with it. I mean, this is going to do great for working around the shop. This is my other work knife that I use around the shop a lot, and you can tell it's really dirty. It's even got paint on it from opening paint cans or that stain or something. Just really simple. Love the design of the knife. This one's made of 5160. So, it takes concrete just fine. So it's really good because I can drop it, throw it around. Same, I'm not going to throw this one because this one has a really clean finish on it, and I still have to take a picture of it for the video. Thank you so much for watching this video. You know what to do. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe button, and then if you don't mind, share it with your friends, share it on your Facebook, your Instagram. It really helps me get the word out, and I appreciate it a lot. So thanks for building along and watching this video for making a blacksmith style work knife. These are really fun knives to make. I think you'll enjoy making these knives. It has a lot of cool elements to it. The twist, bending over the steel, making a little scroll, and then beveling, tapering, cleaning up the edges, having a really good profile on it. All in all, love this knife. Turned out great. So stay tuned for our next video. We are going to be making something out of what's in this package.
What is it?
Well, I can't tell them what it is.
Why can't I know what it is?
Well, you can know what it is, but I can't tell them what it is until the next video. They're not going to come back and watch the next video. Come back and watch the next video. So tune in next time. We're going to make a knife out of this. This is going to be fun. So my son wanted to show y'all his art project that he's been working on. This is my son. Tell me a little bit about your art project.
So I was making these. I was trying to make an Iron Man scale thing. I have a picture of it, but I can't show it. But I changed my mind, and I said, Dad, I want to make some kind of sculpture. And he said, okay, we can do that. And he asked me what kind of sculpture I wanted to do, and I took the flower sculpture. So this is the flower sculpture.
So Hagen forged all of the petals here that you see. And he did forge a kind of a bow in this plate and gave it more of a hammered finish. And then he helped forge the stems for it here. And then Dad did the little bit of tack welding that it needed to be stuck together. And there you have it, Hagen's first blacksmith art project. All right, wave goodbye.